Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another podcast. I'm Klaus Kääriäinen, and today's topic is feedback. So, why do you need feedback, and how do you get the feedback, and what should you do with that feedback? So that's basically the couple of thoughts which we're gonna discuss in today's podcast. So basically, why should you get feedback? Well, first of all, when working with games, you will go blind of the stuff which you work with. I'm talking about the graphics and the mechanics and so forth. You will go really blind in seeing does those features and graphics actually work. You might be, after a couple of weeks of working with the game, you might be the last person to be able to say that is the game good or not. Because you just, for example, when playtesting the game, you will start going with routines of when trying out the levels and the user interface, and you know where all the buttons is and how to start the game and where the jump button is and so forth. But when you actually give the game for someone who has never played it before, you start to realize some really fancy things that people just don't get it. They don't understand the heck of what the game is about and what should you do and what's all the fun of it. So you should always aim to get feedback from the very first version of the game and give it to someone who you think that might be interested from these type of games, and just see that they play. Don't expect that that you get some text-based feedback from them, because it's really hard to put into words. So it's really crucial that you actually stand behind them and see when they play it, and just don't share any intelligence how the game works and what you're supposed to do and stuff. Just see what they do, and it can be really fun experience to see people getting to know with your game and trying to understand it. You start to realize some really, really fancy things, what's wrong with the game and what should be better and so forth. So but when taking feedback from people, it's really crucial that you take the feedback from people who you expect is the core users of that game. Because, for example, if you make a really gore-based shooter game where blood splatters and rifles rumble and so forth, that's a type of a game which most likely for example, your mother won't be that interested in, or it's a possibility. So you might want to try to find a person who likes to play the type of rifle games where you shoot people and their heads blow off and so forth. So always aim to find people who might be in your core group. Of course, when designing your game, you should always aim to think that beforehand, before you even start making a game, that who will actually play it, what type of person the player is and so forth. So it's much easier to discover and get the feedback from the right people and right sources, because you can basically go into really wrong direction with your game design if you start to listen to the wrong type of a feedback from people who are not even the core group of your game, and you start to actually listen to those feedbacks and start to modify the game into a direction that you actually lose the sense of even knowing that who is the actual gamer and what other type of games does the player play and so forth. So it's really crucial to know to not only test your game for peoples, but also test it with for the right people and the core group. So get the feedback from the day one when you have the first prototype. Get it to someone, get them to play it, and just see how it goes, and get the feedback and modify the game and test another time, and try to get people who have never played the game before as often as possible, because that's the situations in which you learn what's the problem with your game and what should be otherwise and so forth. So that's my couple of thoughts on the feedback, and hopefully you got something out from this. remember to test out your game every day. And yeah, thank you very much for your time, and see you in the next podcast.